Wait, go.
That is our intro. Hello and welcome to the CubeCast podcast. Now with proper equipment, I'm Wafo. Today is February 13th, 2015, and I'm joined by Brandon.
Hello.
Wow. What was that about?
Yeah, we got these cool mics. Thanks so much to the cubicle.us. We got these cool mics, but more on that later. So, Wafo, what have we got planned for this episode?
Well, first of all, we're planning to be missing Mitch.
Yeah.
So, that's unfortunate for him.
Yeah, whatever. He'll be on next time.
Whatever. Yeah, he could talk about his time off from recording and what good time he's having not recording.
Well, okay. I don't think recording's that bad. Recording's fun. Yeah, it's amazing.
It is fun. It's really fun.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll have Mitch on definitely the next time with our next guest, who we're not going to say until the end of the episode. Keep listening, guys.
Yes. Definitely keep listening. So what else do we have planned? All right, this episode will mostly be about blind solving in the community. We plan on talking about the recent WCA banning of a Polish delegate and a world record holder in regard to blind, as well as some issues with blind cube orientation. And of course, we're going to be doing most of this with our guest, who is a blindfold fashionista, Noah Arthurs.
All right, so a bit of news about what we're doing. The cubicle.us, as I said earlier, has sponsored us, got Mitch and me these cool blue snowball mics. I think mine's snowball, if you know what I mean. We also get to do the puzzler. We're starting that up again this episode. At the end of this episode, we'll have the puzzler. We'll have information about that. It's going to be posted on our website, cubecast.cubing.net, so be sure to check there. And if you happen to submit the puzzler, the correct answer to the puzzler first, you'll get a $5 gift card from the cubicle.us. And based on what you guys are interested in doing, we could have a discount code at the cubicle, possible t-shirts. But for right now, we just want to get these episodes out there. We want to get a bit more exposure before those endeavors, you know.
Yeah, because everything we do is going to be based on audience interest. So, we need feedback from you guys before we start out getting these cool stuff out for you guys.
Yeah, and we really appreciate all the feedback that we've gotten from the first episode and from episode 0. It's really helped shape how we're going to move forward with the CubeCast.
Yeah, and speaking of audience and stuff like that, we got listener taglines. So we got a few really, really funny taglines, but they weren't really safe for work. So we'd like to get more safe for work taglines out there. If you don't know what the listener taglines are, if you go on our website, you'll see that our taglines change every single time you reload a page. And we'll pretty much post them if we think they're funny. So send those in, keep them safe for work. Think of the children.
Yeah. So in regular news, with continental and national records, there were no world records this time around. But we have so many of these because the first time we tried recording this was a little over 2 weeks ago. And we've got just so many things to cover. First is the Frankfurt Cube Days in Frankfurt, Germany. Now, Bennett Wichmann got a 2x2 European record average of 1.77. In 3x3, Cornelius Diekmann got a 6.26 national record single for Germany, as well as a 7.53 national record average for 3x3. Good lord. And in 5x5, Lucas Vescha got a 59.06 national record single for Germany as well. So, German cubers insanely fast. And Corny, fantastic fantasy pick.
Oh, yeah. It's a good thing we had him. We had him on our team.
Yeah,
that was a really good pick.
Yeah, I was talking to Rob Yao and Pi McNeil, and because they're on a team, they're ranked a little bit above us right now, but they didn't pick Corny. CubeCast has its own. We have our own fantasy team. If you haven't noticed, I think we're ranked 8th place or something right now, 8th or 12th, I forget.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing pretty well, I think. And whenever we get to switch out the two competitors, that's gonna be just really awesome. But yeah, Corny, nobody saw that coming. I remember Rob was like, "Yeah, let's not pick him." And then as soon as Corny gets to, I think I shot. I don't remember which of the two I sent the message to, but one of them I sent, "Ha, Corny ER, all these fantasy points." And they're like, screw you. And I was like, yeah, yes. I was so happy.
That's like, it's 2 NRs, so like that's even more fantasy points.
Exactly.
So it's great. It's so good. It feels so great to have those fantasy points just rolling in.
Yeah, not to mention just winning the competition in general.
Yeah.
It just, all the points just start trickling in, and not really trickling, more like downpour. Torrential downpour. All right, so the next competition we have on the list
is PB Smash-a-thon 2015 in Delhi, India. We had in Paramix round 1 Shivam Bansal with a 4.24 national record average for Paramix. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Let's see, what else we got here? On Speed Cubing Mumbai Unlimited 2015 and Mumbai, India, in the 3x3 semifinals, we had Kabinal Talukdar, 8.9 second 3x3 average. That is impressive because that's their first sub-9, India's first sub-9. So that's really, really great.
Yeah, I remember going into the first Speed Cubing Mumbai Unlimited, I was talking to Akshay Rao, who kind of organized all of that, and he was like, yeah, there's not much going on really in India with cubing, and now it's grown so much. This is their 5th one, and it gets more fun for everyone every year. It's really awesome to see India growing, the Indian speed cubing community really growing and excelling. And I'm sitting over here like thinking 8.9 average. I just need a sub 10 single.
Oh, you and me both. And speaking of growing communities, we also have Mazate Open 2015.
Mazate Open 2015 was in Guatemala. It was an 11-person competition. But Guatemala was their 7th competition, and they already have had another one since then. But they started holding frequent competitions, I think like once monthly, since August. And the largest competition had about 100 competitors, which is pretty cool. But this one is only 11 people, and in the 5x5 final, Adrian Ramirez got a 159.98 national record single for 5x5. So that's pretty cool, because 5x5 has now gone sub 2 in Guatemala, and it can only get faster from there. Many props to Adrian Ramirez and to really all of Guatemala for having all these competitions in a place that really didn't have them.
Oh, yeah. Let's see what else we got here. All right, we got our first Poland competition of the year, the Riviera Cube Week 2015, with we got ER for 3x3 feet in round 1 by Jakub Kipa. It's with a 31.26.
We talked about these places where competitions weren't held all too much, but now holding them all the time. And then Poland, who it seemed in 2014 held competitions all the time. Kit Kum said every time that he goes to use the restroom, Poland would have a competition. I'm just really impressed that Kit could hold it in for so long in anticipation for Riviera Cube Week. It's just amazing. So congrats to Kit, congrats to Jakub Kipa, and congrats to Poland for having their first competition of the year being a success. Now, another successful competition, very successful and very noteworthy, would be the Pré-Mundial in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It was kind of supposed to be a warm-up for Worlds. It's at the same Worlds venue and all of that, but 8 South American records were broken, first of which was from Pedro Henrique de Silva Roque with a 33.19 4x4 average and 28.11 single. In 5x5, still Pedro Henrique de Silva Roque with 108.24 5x5 average. And for 6x6 from the same guy, Pedro Henrique de Silva Roque, 2:15.79 South American record single for 6x6 and a 2-minute 29.28 6x6 mean of 3 South American record. Then there was Gustavo Maisanave Frank, I suppose, with 7x7 South American record single and mean of 3, with the single being 3-minute 22.26, the mean of 3 being 3-minute 33.99, and then lastly we have João Pedro Batista Ribeiro Costa with a 23-move FMC single South American record. 8 South American records at one competition.
That is impressive. That is impressive.
And not only that, it's like the record, the times themselves, and no, the results overall, because FMC, the results themselves are impressive on their own. Like no matter where they're from, it's just it's fantastic. Congrats to all the Brazilians, because Worlds is going to be held there now.
Yeah.
And
it's a good chance for the community to actually show off, like, hey, we're getting pretty good, You should pay attention to some people down there.
Yeah.
And it's really well deserved.
Oh, yeah. Now they're really on the map. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And now that Worlds is gonna be there, they're gonna be really, really on the map. So it's great. It's really great.
Speaking of on the map, we have Lifestyle Season Summer 2015 with Felix Zemdegs, who's that guy, with a 23.88 Oceanic record 4x4 single, and Pi McNeil with a 3.67 Oceanic record Pyraminx average. Now that's just amazing. It's all right. It's all right. And what I mean,
like it's like I don't really know Pi McNeil for Pyraminx all too much.
Yeah,
I know him for like Scube and 2x2.
Yeah, Scube and 2x2. That's basically it. And then Felix 23. Come on, man, you can do faster than that. We know you.
We sort of know you, kind of.
Yeah, but congrats to both of them for their accomplishments there at Lifestyle Seasons. Also raking in all those wonderful fantasy points.
Oh, yes, fantasy.
Fantasy points. And then Pedro Henrique de Silva Roque, with 5 South American records, just right there, just raking in all of those fantasy points. Our fantasy team
You're just showering in fantasy points.
Our
right
fantasy
there.
points. Our fantasy team this year is baller, and I can't wait until we get to Switch. You want to take the next competition?
Oh yeah, sure. At Michigan Cubing Alpha 2015 in Michigan, we had Origami Spaghetti with a 3.49 NAR Scube average.
Yeah, that's about 350.
350, indeed. It's Scube though, so
yeah.
Like,
congrats on doing Sledge Fast, man.
It's kind of funny because Scube's become such a broken event. Like it was great at the start, logistically, I would say.
Yeah, and then February came along and single just wasn't worth anything anymore, and then we came a long way, and now average is just getting tougher and tougher and tougher to beat.
Yeah,
but at least it's being beaten by people who really honestly deserve it. With Pi McNeil and Cosco and all those really 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 fast people just trying to get sub 3, which is mind boggling. I have no idea how
it's like the new 2x2, man.
It's totally the new 2x2. I think it's more like just a step behind Pyraminx right now.
Yeah.
Just like half a step behind Pyraminx.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to see. Major props to Sarah Strong for developing a method that is honestly so... It's just so great in how simple and effective it is. It's just... It's amazing. And I know people like Pi McNeil have learned so many actual algorithms to solve cases that they'd come across. It's just, I don't know, it's beyond me. Like, I'm just sitting over here like, I don't know what I'm doing half the time.
Yeah.
So the next competition is the new AVG Open 2015 in Lima, Peru. And we have Jean-Alexander Taboada Temple with a 3.90 South American record Scube average, which is amazing still. It just... Scube's getting way too fast. And then Juan Pablo Juanqui with a 7.04 South American record 3x3 single. 704 3x3 single in South America. Like,
oh man, you remember 7.08?
Yeah,
7.08 was such a great record, man.
708. It stood forever. Well, not forever, because Felix, but it stood for so long. That's what it was when I started cubing. I think it's a real testament to how much the South American cubing community has grown over the years, having a 704 3x3 single and all those. We had in the time since the last episode, we've had 10 South American records. Good lord, that's amazing. Well,
it's crazy.
Major props to South America overall for just being awesome and getting great at so many things, and have a great time showing everybody how awesome you are at Worlds. And the last competition, you want to take this one, Wafo?
Yeah, sure. Winter Cube Anniversary 2015 in Korea by Doyeon Kim with a 2.9 ASR and Pyraminx average. 2.9. That's crazy.
Lord.
I feel like the puzzle itself is one of those things that it's easy enough, but it's hard to get fast at, Yeah.
It's
easy to get fast at. For me, the hardest part of Pyraminx is like turning.
Yeah, as somebody who doesn't own a Pyramix currently and never learned a method to solving one, watching it is just absolutely mesmerizing. It's one of the coolest things, and it happens all so quickly. I don't get it. Like I was with Otter at Worlds, and we were just doing some Cube. I was doing Cube stuff. And he's like, "How the hell do you turn so fast?" And he was doing PR stuff. I'm like, "How the hell do you turn so fast?" And it was just amazing overall. So, congratulations to all the continental and national record holders, the new record holders. And now we're going to take a quick commercial break. We have special guest Noah Arthurs after the break to talk about blindfolded cubing, the controversial Zalewski-Kunsky case, cubing world, fantasy cubing, much, much more. So stay tuned. The CubeCast podcast has been brought to you by thecubicle.us, trusted by speedcubers and puzzlers worldwide.
And we're back. Joining us now, cubing world creator, organizer of fantasy cubing, known for his delicious blind skills, Noah Arthurs. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
Again.
for sure.
Again, for the second time. Oh,
Yep.
jeez.
Definitely. Wait, are you referring to like last week or when I was on the podcast like last year?
Both. Let's just say both.
Okay.
Por qué no
Yeah,
los dos,
that's
guys?
fair. Double. It's a double entendre.
So Noah, what got you interested in cubing in the first place?
Well, oh geez, that's a long story. That's going way back in the time traveling. Basically, I have the most boring story imaginable, which is that I knew how to solve a cube, and then I watched like a video of people solving cubes fast, and I was like, I could do that maybe, and I looked into it, and it was fun. Yeah.
Wow, that was very enlightening, Noah. Thank you.
Yeah,
so
I know.
much.
I have the most ordinary story imaginable, probably.
In comparison to everyone else.
No, I think that it's common. Like that's
Yeah.
just like a common thing that happens. Is
Oh,
like
yeah, completely.
someone like stumbles across a YouTube video and then they're like, "Yeah, that looks fun. Let me do that," and then they go do it.
Yeah,
I think that's what separates the cubers from the non-cubers. That the non-cubers are the ones who watch the video and they say like, no, I could never do that. That's incredible, or like, that's stupid. I don't want to do that. And then that's the end of their cubing career right there. It begins and ends in the same video. But for many of us, we watch one video and then it turns into like 3, 4, 11-year careers of like solving cubes and talking about them.
yeah. Well, how'd you get involved with blindfolded cubing for the first time? Because that's much different.
This is an interesting story because I was on YouTube and I saw a video of someone solving a cube blindfolded, and I said, I want to be able to do that, and so I started blindfolded solving.
Oh, so essentially analogous as before.
Yeah, yeah. No, I lied when I said that was an interesting story.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to get
No
your hopes
worries.
up.
It's great though. Like you got a very plain story.
All my hopes and prospects for the rest of my life are now crushed. Thanks, Noah.
Yeah, maybe we should like watch a video of the president or something, and then I'll be president later.
Nah.
Or I'll watch a video of someone standing on one foot, and then I'll be able to stand on one foot.
That's probably much
That's all you
more
have to
possible.
do.
Yeah.
Dude,
Or it's like
is that how you just acquire all of your skills through just watching other people on YouTube?
Yeah, I just kind of absorb stuff. That's
Maybe
why.
you should, yeah, you should like watch some videos about some guy like Super Genius. Not that you're a super genius now.
Whoa, are you saying I'm not a super genius?
No, I'm saying you are.
Oh, okay.
See?
Cool. That's actually something I really don't like. Is kind of the perception. Like, I'm not saying that you're propagating this, but like the perception of speedcubers as like super geniuses. It's like, it really bothers me. And I think that it's all. I blame reporters, all of them. I don't
quite
even,
honestly, yeah.
I think that it's really hard, but we need to work together as a community to make sure that like we kind of get rid of that image, because it really hurts the number of people who are going to go like start speed cubing.
I think that You Can Do the Cube campaign was a really interesting campaign that wasn't really broadcast. It didn't really go as far as it was intended to go out, and I don't know if that's the fault of the Rubik's Company or the fault of us as a community for not really pushing that as much. I think it's just kind of everybody needs to take part in saying, this really isn't as bad as you think it is, and you can really do this. Like I always tell people, I know I know so many dumb people who can solve Rubik's cubes, and I'm saying dumb, obviously, relatively.
Yeah,
But,
you know Mitch.
yeah, exactly. if Mitch can solve a cube in 6.25 seconds, then you could probably solve a cube in a minute, just straight up. I always use the example. There's a video of a 3-year-old that went viral because this 3-year-old was solving a cube in like a minute, and everybody was like, "Whoa, they're so smart!" And I'm just sitting back here like, "No, they're not necessarily that smart. They just know what they're doing."
Like if Mitch can solve a cube in 6.25 seconds, then a 3-year-old should be able to solve it in like 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I'm just ragging on Mitch because he's not here. Like if he were here,
It's okay. Nah. If he was here, you'd probably be doing the same thing anyway.
Yeah, probably actually.
Yeah.
Mitch,
There'd
I'm
be no
sorry.
change.
If you're listening to this, I'm really sorry, and I love you, and we should get married sometime. Okay.
All right. So Noah, we said earlier that you're the coordinator of Cubing World. You're a highly relevant blindfold solver. You run Fantasy Cubing with Nathan
Ooh.
Brema.
Ooh, I don't know how relevant I am to blind solving anymore.
Well, yeah. Well,
I'm actually working. I'm actually working on getting fast again. I've been slow for the last like 6 months. I've been slow since nationals, pretty much. Actually,
The first thing we want to kind of hit on the head is the whole WCA banning of Marcin Zalewski and Krzysztof Kunci. And this is because it's in regard to blind, and this entire episode is sort of like a blind episode.
Yep.
For those who don't know, basically there was just some stuff about blind orientation and how Krzysztof Kunci, Martin Zalewski knew what orientation his cube was going to be in, more
specifically, he knew sometimes what the top center was already. And going into the backstory behind this, Marcin Kowalczyk, or Moscow as everybody knows him, had a similar investigation about his multi-blind world record attempt in late 2013, and the verdict on that was that there's nothing now that is really punishable because it wasn't Moscow's fault, but there will be severe punishments the next time it happens. And since Zalewski came out and said, "Yeah, I knew sometimes what the top center was going to be," and coming from a world-renowned blind solver, I think obviously honesty would be the best policy in that case. But I think it put a lot on the line for him, and now he's banned until 2016. Krzysztof Kunci was the delegate who would sometimes inform, according to Marcin, sometimes inform Marcin Zalewski what the orientation of the cube was in, and now his delegate status has been revoked permanently.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a few things to note here. One of them is that it is an advantage. Might not seem like it, but it is an advantage to look at the cube. It also shouldn't matter the size. In my opinion, it shouldn't matter what size the advantage is. If people are cheating, it's just like if you willfully cheat, then that's like it should be the same whether you like know the whole scramble beforehand or you just know what orientation the cube is going to be in. Because either way, you're making the event unfair. I think I think that the thing that's like causing a lot of the arguments about this case is just the fact that we don't know all the information, so it's very hard for us to it's impossible for us to make a complete judgment when only the WCA knows all the information sort of surrounding the case.
I think though that if the WCA were to withhold information, it'd be information that wasn't necessarily pertinent to show to the public.
You mean like stuff that it wouldn't be like okay to show to the public or might like damage reputations.
Yeah, stuff like that, or even just simple stuff like, here was the evidence that clearly shows. It's like if there was something for the WCA to not show, it would probably be something that would either not be important at all, or not bring up anything new to the decision, or it would be damaging to reputations and whatnot, as you were saying.
Like, I think that the most important part of this is that he turned himself in, and I think we can compare this to Ro Hessler's case from a few years ago, where, for those of you who don't know, he set a 3-blind world record in like 2006-ish, and then in about 2013, he came forward and said, that when I did that was the same scramble I got on the previous solve, so it was like way easier. And so what happened was they didn't ban him or anything. They just disqualified that one attempt that he at the time felt like too embarrassed to like come forward about, and it kind of weighed on him heavily for a couple years. So, okay, so here we have two examples of people turning themselves in. One person, it's just their solve gets disqualified. The other person gets banned for a year and a half.
Yeah. Some people were saying that the ban wasn't long enough, or that it was just as long as it needed to be. Other people feel very strongly, based on the Roe Hessler case, that the ban should have been considerably less. But...
Yeah, so a few things I'd say about the differences. One is that, like, the Roe Hessler thing was a one-time cheating. With Zalewski, it was not only a continual cheating, not only like solve after solve after solve, but also it was something that happened after a warning was already like issued, like loud and clear about that exact thing. Another thing is like we don't know the circumstances of him turning himself in. Like it's possible that he just decided on his own, I feel shitty about this, I'm going to come forward and say like I was cheating. It's also possible that he was pressured into it by other people and that it wasn't entirely his decision. Kind of like when a criminal pleads guilty in court. So I think a year, like for someone who has admitted to continual cheating, I think a year and a half like sounds reasonable to me. The biggest problem with the system and the regulations, which is completely unavoidable, is that it's easy to cheat. Is that it's really, 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 really easy to cheat. And so we need, like, we got to punish the cheaters. Like, we got to make people afraid to cheat. Like, I think that's just, it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, we got to really disincentivize even the idea of cheating at any level, really. I think the regulations do a fairly decent job at preventing cheating in many aspects, but if you have a delegate who's kind of in on the action...
I was about to say, I'm really more disappointed at the delegate for letting this happen.
Yeah, yep.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's just like, it's unacceptable to just say, hey, by the way, here's the orientation, or some shit like that.
Yeah. I'm
sorry, some other like that.
I totally agree. I mean, we got to be disappointed in both of them because they were both supposed to be, like, kind of upstanding members of the speed solving community. And I'm not saying that, like, this automatically makes them bad people or anything, but, like, I agree that, like, a delegate, someone whose whole job it is to make sure the rules get enforced, kind of almost catalyzing this cheating is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
Is the delegate also banned for a year and a half?
It says Krzysztof Kunski's delegate status will be permanently removed, and yes, banned until the same time. So Marcin Zalewski and Krzysztof Kunski are banned from WCA competitions until the end of June 2016.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I feel no sympathy would be too strong of a phrase, but I feel little sympathy for someone who cheats and then gets banned. It's just like when you cheat, like that's just what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything?
Yeah,
Are there any other points to bring up about this?
Well, also regarding the blind orientation thing, there was a post on the speed solving forums by IRN Juggle 28 regarding our current system for having a completely random blind orientation. So the current system adds the extra step, as argued by IRN Juggle 28, of orienting the cube before you have to memorize it. And IRN Juggle 28 thought that this was not a necessary step in just memorizing and solving the cube blindfolded. And then another argument was having judges and scramblers leave the cube in scrambling orientation, or the cuber's preferred orientation, adequately gets rid of the cube orientation phase.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
So like on the one hand, so there's one argument where like that's really impractical and we could never like effectively enforce that without seriously slowing down like efficiency at competitions. And also it's very hard to guarantee that a cube ends up in a certain orientation, especially when it's hidden under a box. Like there are just gonna be lots of mistakes. But like in my opinion, that argument doesn't even matter because it's unfair to. It's just inherently unfair to, like, give people the cube in the orientation that they want because it's not method neutral. Like I believe strongly that the WCA has to maintain method neutrality.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If you give people the orientation that they want, then they're not accommodating people who don't have a fixed orientation in their blindfolded solves. And that's, I don't think that that's acceptable. It's like, okay, even if there are literally zero people who don't have a fixed orientation in blindfolded, like just the fact that someone like that could exist means that it's not a fair regulation.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm thinking, as it applies to 4x4 blindfolded, it's literally impossible to do.
Yeah.
So there's absolutely no way that any regulation like that could possibly gain any traction. It's just not feasible at all. And a lot of the posts in the thread, especially by Eric Aggersdyke, saying things very similar to you about method neutrality. Cube orientation during blindfolded is a choice. It's not. It's definitely not necessary, because you could pick up a cube in any orientation and go about memorizing it. But as you were saying, even if there are literally 0 people who do that, the fact that it could still possibly come up makes it inherently unfair.
I think random orientation has got to be the way to go. I don't think there's another option.
Yeah. Can you think of a better way that T-Noodle could provide a random orientation in addition to the way it does now, or as an alternative to the way it does now?
I don't like. Okay, so I guess there's kind of another question which I think you're trying to hint at here, which is that should everyone get the exact same orientation, or should the orientation be random?
Because, I think it should be random, definitely.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't explain myself very well there.
Oh,
what
okay.
I mean is, like, okay, so T-Noodle gives you a scramble, and the last few turns are wide turns in order to randomize the orientation, right?
Yes.
The question is, do you, like, let's say, like, you end up with, I don't know, orange on top, yellow in front at the end of that. When you have a scramble like that, should everyone get orange on top, yellow in front, or does it not matter? Right now, according to the regulations, it doesn't matter. That as long as that's just a way of creating arbitrary orientation. I think that's the term that they use, where, okay, the scramble ends orange on top, yellow in front, but like some people might get orange on top, yellow in front, others might get orange on top, green in front, just in the process of carrying the cube from the table to the from the scrambling table to the solving table. I think, like, personally, I'm fine with people getting different orientations. I think that's just like part of the solve.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It happens in literally every other speed solving event. Because you think if you're taking your 3x3 to the station, you have no idea what orientation it's in. It's completely arbitrary in the same way that blind is, except that it's not made to be random by the scrambling program. And I feel very strongly that to try, again, going along with having everything in a particular orientation, that it's just completely unfeasible. And the only difference, as opposed to having it in the solver's orientation or having it in scrambling orientation, is that most people, if such a thing were to exist, most people wouldn't even know what the scrambling orientation was supposed to be, except for the scramblers. So there would be no way to enforce that everybody gets the same orientation to start off every attempt.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
I think if there were, that might be like very, very slightly more fair, but I don't think it makes a difference.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's negligible as well.
Oh yeah, sure. In regards to blind, Maskov actually just released a 32 out of 32 multi-blind that he did, and basically each cube was around like 114, which is pretty damn impressive if you ask me. But do you really think it can go any further than this? Like, do you think sub 1 is like possible for a really, really big number of cubes for multi-blind?
Why not?
Why not, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Maskov would be the first person to get like sub 1 on like per cube on a 32 32.
People just keep getting faster, or Mascot just keeps getting faster. I mean, like I don't think we should assign limits to stuff. That every time people assign limits, they're wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Every single time.
Oh, yeah.
There's not been one time where someone's been like, this is the limit for this, and then it turned out that no one ever like exceeded that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think 60 cubes in an hour is impossible. I think it'll happen. I don't think I'll be the one to do it because I don't want to, but you
You don't want to.
Literally what Mascot has proven is that if you want to do it, then you can, right? He wanted to practice like one multi-blind attempt a day or some ridiculous number like that, maybe even 2 or 3 a day, and now he's really good at it. Like there's no coincidence there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He decided, I want to be really good at multi-blind. He practiced a ton. Maybe he has some natural ability for it. He probably does. But like, really what it's all about is just like, you know, wanting it. and he's the only one who really wanted it that badly for multi-blind. And if he still wants it and he still practices, he'll get there.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good point you make about no previous limit that anybody has come up with for anything has ever been right. Well, except for, like Sub-Zero. Obviously.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
That's like physically impossible. But I think that just goes to show how much cubing has really progressed over the years. Would any of us have thought that, or Wafo especially, would you have ever thought that the 3x3 world record could be 5:55?
No. I was like, I kind of just grew up with the community, kind of stuck around at 7:08 for the longest time.
Yeah, me too. And then Felix comes along,
just,
and everybody else just
yeah.
keeps getting faster. It seems like all those plateaus just finally drop off after so much time, and then everybody follows suit. I don't know what it is.
Didn't Felix get like a sub-6 average of 12
Yeah, he got
or something?
599,
Yeah.
592, 599, I forget, average of 12.
It's a 599 because he recently switched cubes. It was like, I really like this Gans puzzle.
Oh man, that is...
Yeah.
Pretty sure you can get the Gans puzzle on the cubicle.us, shameless plug.
Totally worth it, though. Okay, moving on. Yesterday, or I think maybe it might have been 2 days ago, there was a thread on the speed solving forum called the SD corner 3-cycle method for blindfolded solving. Did you have a chance to see this, Noah?
No,
All right,
did
so
not.
the idea is it's meant as a variation of turbo for corners, and the idea is that so you'll start, obviously, you'll learn the algs that will cycle your buffer piece. Let's just assume it's UBL for just for the example. And then you want to shoot UBL to the corner that's on the exact opposite end of the cube from that. So in this case, that'd be DFR. And then...
That sounds like old Pacman.
And then you would shoot to... but you not only just shoot there, you'd also shoot to... So that the third corner would be diagonal, on a face diagonal to that corner. So you learn all those algs. So the example that was brought up was you would shoot from UBL to either DFR, FRD, or RDF, and then shoot to BDL, or one of those.
Oh, okay.
Like one of the orientations there.
So it's just old Pacman with shorter algorithms, right?
No, it's
Is
not
that
even
all
old
it is?
Pacman. They came up with algorithms that would solve those based on commutators, and just learned all those for every case. And I think it's almost like a bridge between R2 and Turbo, but also like 3-style.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is already kind of exists. So when I have a 3-style tutorial where I talk about you learn all the targets for like the QB opposite the buffer, and then that's like way fewer algorithms, but you can always set up so that one of your targets is on that QB. So this is basically kind of an institutionalization of that with fewer algorithms, which is cool. I think like it's no, I agree. It's a good intermediate.
It's no
step.
3-style, but it's kind of a bridge. I thought of it kind of as a bridge between R2 and Turbo, but instead of R2, it would be like D2 in the example shown.
How often does like stuff for blind come out anyways, like these developments, these types of new methods? Like I don't really pay attention all too much in blind, but just being...
I think the problem is that there isn't really demand for intermediate blind solving methods, because the understanding is that you're only using 3-style. So like I think people are just I think people are just happy with like M2 old Pacman. I mean, if someone came out with some like significantly easier way to get solves around a minute than like M2 old Pacman, I'm sure that people would go nuts over it. But
well, there's poop.
You can't get.
Let
me know when you get under a minute with poop.
I got to 104. That was the closest I got.
That's
Point,
ridiculous. If you can get 104 with poop, you should be getting like 30-second solves with 3-style.
Yeah, I was getting like I remember it was like 25 memo and then whatever the rest of it is, like 40 execution or something
That's
like
absurd. Like if you had put that effort into 3-style, you would be like sub 40, no problem.
that. I really should go about learning how to do blind properly, but I have 2 weeks until Basque, or I have 1 week until Berkeley. There's no way that I'm gonna.
You should go back in time and you should tell your former self, instead of spending all this time working on poop, just work on 3-style.
Quite honestly, like I have, it's like, edge comms are the easier ones for me, but the corner comms, that's where it really just trips me up. I've tried doing solves where I would memorize with Spef's scheme and then make images on the go and then blindfold myself and be like, okay, I know, I remember my memo, definitely. I just don't know how to relate it.
Yeah, you gotta work on the parts of the solve individually before you put it all together. Like, so you gotta work on Spefs on its own, you gotta work on memorizing corners, memorizing edges on their own, you gotta work on executing corners, executing edges. Like, you gotta work on translating letters into images, remembering your images for long amounts of time. The thing about blindfolded solving is that there are a lot of elements to it, and you gotta practice two different things. You gotta practice all the elements on their own, and then you have to practice putting them all together. This method's cool. It's definitely a good intermediate step. Like, I think, like, I'm not as big a fan of trying to define an intermediate step as its own method, because if you're on the way from like M2 old Pacman to 3-style, then you should always you shouldn't settle on any one intermediate step for a long amount of time. You should always be building your commutator repertoire. And so, but it's cool because if you learn this stuff, then you're actually not that far. You're not that far from using kind of a pseudo 3-style type method.
Yeah,
it's definitely most.
Definitely. I think that I might go about learning this new method just not only to just try it out and test its viability, but also as a stepping stone from poop to something completely better than poop.
Yeah, good luck with that, man.
Which is literally anything else. All right, so thanks, Noah, for that awesome discussion. And now we're going to take a second commercial break. Remember to send in your taglines because we'll feature them at commercial breaks too.
Cubing is an art, and like all art, it's complete bull.
All right, and we're back. So it's about time that we go into listener section. But before we do that, let's do a little discussion per se about regional competitions.
All right,
take us over.
Yeah. So with the announcement of new U.S. Nationals 2015, some people thought that it was too expensive. It was held at an expensive resort. It was just going to be too difficult to make it over there. For me, I know that I actually have something else going on during the summer, but before I knew that I was going to be doing that, I was a little bit concerned about the cost, but thought I might be able to do it. But on one of the Facebook cubing groups, we thought of the concept of having date-synced regional competitions held around particular regions, following the success or relative success of Cubing USA, not Cubing USA, the FMC USA, where we had multiple venues in multiple parts of the country that were all time-synced because they had to be. So the thoughts on having U.S. regionals that I really have, that I feel strongly about, are having particular defined regions. But people obviously, competitions are open to the public. You don't have to necessarily represent the USA or wherever you're from. You don't necessarily have to represent the USA. You just can go to the competitions as kind of a precursor to nationals, or even on the complete opposite end of the year as nationals. It doesn't really matter. It's just as an alternative for the people who it might be difficult to get to nationals. They could still have a competition of a large scale, be able to compete in all the events that they want to, and see all these cool people from around their area in a fashion similar to U.S. nationals. What do you guys think about this?
I feel like Basque 5 coming up seems to be like the unofficial West Coast Open. You guys have like 150 competitors signed up, right?
Yeah, we closed
That's
registration
not
last night.
that's not that big anymore.
Yeah, but still, it's like it's a big amount. That's like more than nationals 2009.
Yeah, I was there too. It's looking like it's going to be the largest competition held in California so far, and the second biggest competition so far this year. So really, scared but excited for that because it's a thing and it's going to be crazy. Noah, what are your thoughts on regional competitions?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea. I think they shouldn't be anywhere near the same time as nationals. Like 6 months apart would be cool, I think, because like you don't want to make people choose between going to their regional competition and going to nationals because they'll either choose nationals for the prestige or regional competition for like money reasons. But I think if it's 6 months apart, then what happens is you got two big, for people who are willing to travel to nationals or able to travel to nationals, you have two big competitions a year, and for the people who can't travel to nationals, they still get one big competition a year. So I think it's good.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it can be as like official as nationals as much like maybe you could bestow like regional titles on people, but and also I don't think that those competitions should be date synced unless they're also scramble synced. There's no need to have them on the same all on the same day. You go to like East Coast regionals and that's like, on one day, and then a few weekends later you can have like, I don't know, West Coast regionals.
Yeah.
I feel like regionals would be kind of like the whole pre-mundial deal, having a big wind up to nationals. I really like the idea, to be honest. It seems more fun, like hanging around with people around.
Yeah, what I thought was
area.
pretty cool is that we would be able to scout out for venues for nationals. So every regional competition obviously would have its own venue that would need to accommodate a large number of people. And what better way to start trying to plan for future nationals is than having regional competitions with these venues that will hopefully still like us by the end of our events.
Yeah, it's
Still
also
like
cool.
us.
It's also cool because cubing is so big right now. Like at least compared to how it was before. Like nationals, they had to put a cap on how many people could go to nationals last year.
Yeah.
And I imagine there would have been another 100, 150 people if they hadn't done that. So like maybe like 3 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to do regional competitions with lots of people. But now when like an ordinary like straight up Basque competition is getting 150 competitors, if you slap regionals on that, you could get even like 200-300
people. Oh my god.
No, like dead serious.
Yeah.
Like,
I totally agree with you.
Competitions as large as nationals, just because they have all the events. And honestly, like this would be a great way to just get okay, this is gonna sound patriotic, but like get the USA, to get more like fast times up there, because we'd have like these competitions with every single event and lots of rounds and multiple days, and it would just be an opportunity for lots of people to get like really fast times.
All right, so we have some listener questions for you. Are you ready for these?
Yeah.
All right. Did you know right away that you wanted to get into blind, or did you try other events first besides 3x3?
As soon as I found out that blind existed, I knew I wanted to do blind.
Dang.
Yeah. Once I found out that it was a real thing that real people did, I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that.
All right. What keeps you motivated to keep running Cubing World?
Good question. It's fun. It's more fun than cubing, honestly. Like, it's just like I like organizing things. I like watching the numbers go up. I like it when people say, wow, thanks for making this video, it really helped me. Like, even if I wasn't the one who made the video, I just feel good about that, because it's like...
Yeah, as the person who's kind of the...
I'm the midwife.
Yeah, you're the liaison. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Midwife seems a little bit funnier, so let's go with midwife.
Yeah. So as the midwife...
I help people give birth to their video babies.
There you go.
Exactly.
That's your job.
Yeah.
And you love it.
Sorry about not giving you any videos this season yet. Or trying, but not.
It's cool, don't worry.
Alright, so then, how much are you practicing these days?
0.
0?
0.
Same boat as Noah here. Jeez.
Yeah, I've got a lot on my plate, too.
Like, Actually, I'm practicing a little bit this weekend because I have a little bit of free time. But other than that, 0.
Yeah. All right. So, some more. One was already asked. Have you managed to get Felix's rice pudding recipe yet? Obviously, we haven't. Who is your favorite cuber?
Me.
You're okay. That's great. You're also my favorite cuber, Noah.
Oh,
I hope you know that.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
I think. I think like having you as a favorite cuber is kind of like calling Mitch's mom whenever you get a PB.
No-brainer.
Yeah. It's not only a no-brainer. It's like a standard. It doesn't even need to be articulated. It just happens.
Sure. If I had to answer someone other than myself, it would be Kit Clement.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
He's just an all-around great dude.
Yeah. Can your dad do blindfolded yet?
Not yet.
All right. How was it getting the North American record 3x3 single?
At Nationals. Let me tell you about that. Okay, so this goes back to like a few days before Nationals last year, and I was chilling on my horse Jim, and Jim was like just kind of cantering around, and he stumbled across like this little shelter in the ground kind of, and I got off Jim and I tied him to a tree nearby, and I went into the shelter, and in there I found several magazines, but like not the kind you find in the dentist's office, if you know what I mean. And then, so I found those, and then I was like, okay, cool. And so I get out of the shelter, and Jim is gone. And I'm like, I totally tied Jim to the tree, but I go over, and turns out the rope is still there, and I look at the rope, it turns out I didn't tie the knot right. And so I kind of call out for Jim. I walk north, like maybe 30 feet, and there's Jim right there next to a different tree. And I'm like, Jim, what's up, dude? And he's just like, and then I climbed on Jim again, and I rode back home, and I told my mom about the incident. I didn't tell her about the magazines because, she's my mom.
Yeah.
I told her about the shelter and stuff, and she said, oh, that's an old war shelter. It was probably left there by the previous owners. And so then a few days later, we flew to Nationals, and I got the North American record 3x3 single.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a very heartfelt story, actually. I'm like tearing up over here with the whole situation with Jim almost being lost.
Yeah, I think I just got laid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, next question. You have really wonderful hair. What do you put in your voluminous fro?
Oh, I'm pretty basic. I use Head and Shoulders.
Hey, me too, man. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So we can both be basic together.
Yeah, straight up. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm in most aspects of my life, I'm not too basic. I let my hair do its own thing, though. I don't like really restrain it very much with in any way. I give it complete credit for my awesomeness and not myself.
So my favorite cuber is now Noah's hair.
Yes, there you go.
Yes.
All right, Noah, what is your favorite event?
3x3 blindfolded.
And why?
I like it, and I'm good at it. There are other events that I like, but I'm not good at those.
Like 2x2?
Like 2x2. No, I hate 2x2. Good try, man. You almost.
The old switcheroo. And what are your cubing goals for 2015?
Actually cube, work really hard on Cubing World, and run some competitions.
Ooh, that last one is a good thing.
Yeah, we're working on one for spring at Stanford.
Ooh.
Should be fun.
All right, so these are listener questions basically for everyone. First, what world record do you want most? So, Waffle, what do you want most?
I really, really want just, I would say 3x3 average. That's it. I like 3x3. I'm a really plain guy.
It's okay.
In terms of cubing. It's just really boring.
So you can be basic with the rest of us.
Yeah, the Head and Shoulders crew.
And Noah, would it be 3x3 blindfolded?
That'd be nice, yeah. I'll take it.
For single or for mean?
Either's good. Maybe 2x2 single also. Just because that would be the funniest thing that ever happened if I got the 2x2 single world record.
Yeah, well, you're definitely not getting that at Basque anytime soon. And for me, honestly, I'd get the most notoriety out of 3x3 single, but I wouldn't feel that great about it because I feel like I wouldn't have worked too hard for it. I might say something like square one average eventually, because I feel like square one is one of those events where you really have to be great at it in order to excel. Of course, there are some easy scrambles that have come up in competition, but to get a fantastic average requires so much learning that's much more abstract than anything else. I think square one average would be really cool to hold. All right, next question. Who's your favorite monarch, past or present? Noah?
Me.
All right, Wafo?
It would probably be King Pyrrha, Mitch Lane.
Okay, and for mine, it would probably be Brest.
Okay.
Great.
Sweet.
So, next question. Which world record would you want the least, Noah?
Ooh, for me, definitely, clock average.
Yeah, I feel that for
Like,
clock
you can't
average.
even see what's happening. Like, at least with feet, you can see what's going on.
Yeah, I feel that.
I was about to say feet for this question, but now I gotta change it to clock because of that same reason.
Yeah.
It's just so like silly. Like you can't see exactly.
Like there's plenty of skill involved in clock. It's just
Yeah.
you can't see what's happening.
I think mine would be 2x2 single, like straight up. Like if I were to tie, even just tie the 2x2 single world record, it'd probably be the worst thing in the world. Yeah.
just disappointed at the fact that you actually picked up a 2x2.
Oh yeah. Because
You wouldn't enjoy just like the trolliness of that.
yeah, I wouldn't even because I don't own a 2x2. I don't know anything for 2x2. If I were to get that world record, I'd be like, I completely don't deserve this. Why do I have this? Can I just DNF that self, please?
You just tell them that you got the same scramble as last time, like 5 years later.
Oh, yo, I'm moderately down, actually. But it's never going to happen because, as I said before, I don't own a 2x2. It's never going to happen. But yeah, so that's probably what I'd want the least. Or maybe like Magic and Master Magic because they're not even recognized anymore.
Those are permanent world records.
Yeah, it's like, but if I held one of those permanent world records, thing is that they're not even recognized anymore. So it's like, it'd be the worst thing in the world. Also, like, I don't like Magic or Master Magic. So that's the thing. What would be your reaction, segue, to the news of Magic returning if it did return?
Yo, I would start practicing so much for Magic.
I would just be like kind of pissed, but also not really care.
Yeah, I think that if they reinstated it, it would be like because they fixed it. That's the only reason why it's removed, really, because it wasn't feasible to judge. But I feel like if they could fix Magic as an event, I'd be all right with it. Just not do it.
Yeah. I feel like Cube stores, the CubeCast would make so much more money if Magic was just announced because they're just like everyone needs to buy one again.
Yeah, definitely.
Like all my Magics are still in pieces. I've broken more tiles than I have strings, which is kind of a shame.
What?
I slammed like the Magic down way too hard, and I've broken more tiles.
Wow. Okay, next question. Why do you think people complain that moou releases too many cubes?
Because they because they're dumb. I don't know, like why would anyone ever complain about that unless you're like Dion, unless you're like sad little Dion sitting there with your with your Zanji, like please buy me. Or
like a Type A, like the Alpha Company or whatever, or Guojia or whatever the company's called, sitting there like we're not even relevant anymore, like 0% of the time.
I don't know. Maybe like some people feel obligated to like buy all of moou's cubes, and then they sad that they have to buy so many cubes.
But nobody should feel obligated to just buy cubes unless you're trying to get better at multi.
Or if you're like trying to just stay on the cutting edge of whatever, but you don't have to. Like I'm using a Weilong still, like version 1. It's
yeah, me too. Yeah, mine actually traded with Edward Lin. We traded our Weilongs. Yeah.
Okay, let's just leave it at that.
I'm so sorry.
I I tried holding it in so long. It just never. Oh my god. True story though. He was like, "This way long's pretty good," and I tried his. I'm like, "This way long's pretty good too." He's like, "You want to trade?" I'm like, "Sure."
Welcome to the CubeCast, safe for work for everyone.
All right. So if you were never allowed to compete in an event that you've done before, what is your new main event, Noah?
Square one.
And why would you say that?
It's the only one I haven't competed in.
Wonderful. Waffo, your choices are clock, 3x3 blindfolded, 4x4 blindfolded, 5x5 blindfolded, multi, fewest moves, and feet.
Probably be fewest moves. I really like the concept behind fewest moves.
Dude, as somebody who started out with heist, you should definitely do that.
Yeah, I think I could probably get like around like 30, 35 on average right now if I try hard enough.
That would be...
If I try hard enough. It's a matter of just, actually trying. I can't sit down for an hour trying to figure out stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like I tried looking at this recently actually. It's fun. I like it.
All
How
right.
about you?
Oh, for me, I've got quite a list. 2x2, 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, 7x7, feet, 4 blind, 5 blind, mega minx, pyraminx, and clock. 4 blind. Yeah, 4 blind. Because why not? And
Nice.
I've done it before. And the others I've done before, or most of the others I've done before and have been absolute crap at. All right, so at this point, it's time for Team Blindfolded, starring our
no.
caller, Noah Arthurs.
Don't do this to me.
Don't
All
worry,
right.
no, this isn't
All
the
right.
same scramble as last time.
Yeah, I
You're not gonna
generated.
pull a Roe Hessler for this one.
Oh yeah, I generated the scramble on QQ Timer about an hour ago. So yeah, there it is. Okay, I'm ready when you are.
Yep, same.
Okay, so what you're gonna do to start solving the cube is a T-perm, and then X2, and then a T-perm. And now we have a slightly different position. Do a U prime, R prime, L prime. Okay, then do like wide D,
Okay.
and then L prime, and then U2, F, U. Okay, and then do an X2. Okay, and then do U prime, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, L, U, L prime, U, L prime, U prime, L, U prime, then do F, and then 5 sexy moves, and then F prime, and then do B, U2, B prime, and then do U2, R, U2, R prime, U, and then R prime, F, R, F prime, then do F, and then a sexy move, and then F prime, then I want you to do U, and then a T perm, okay, and then U, and then I want you to do, what to do now? There are lots of options here, but I think the best option is to do, U2, M2U, M, U, M prime, U, M2, okay, and then U2, M prime, U, M prime, U, M prime, U, M prime, okay, and then U prime, M2, and then M2, U2, M2, U, oh no, I messed that up, okay, M2, okay, and then do Y2, okay, and then U prime, M, U2, M, U, M prime, U2, M E2 S2. Done.
25087, and I have all the corners are permuted, but with the centers are wrong, and 2 of them are oriented incorrectly.
I think I missed something because the entire thing still looks scrambled to me.
my cube is in checkerboard.
Ah.
Oh.
Well, it's
Wonderful.
been everybody DNF'd. Fantastic. Thank you so much,
Great.
Noah, for that wonderful Team Blind
No problem.
experience.
And thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate it. You
Oh,
want to
yeah.
stick around to listen to the Puzzler, or are you
Nah,
busy?
I gotta run. Thanks so much, guys.
All right, for sure.
Thank
Have a
you
good
for
one,
being
man.
here.
All right, bye.
Bye.
See ya.
All right. It's that time of the episode, I guess, for our first time doing the Puzzler. So,
Yeah! $5 grand prize.
yeah, the way the Puzzler works is that I'm going to say what the Puzzler is. It'll also be available on our website because, honestly, this one's long-winded and you're probably better off just reading it. But if you happen to be the first person to submit a correct answer, you will get a $5 gift card coupon thing to the cubicle.us. It is a gift card? It's a gift card? Okay.
Yes.
To the cubicle.us. And that's awesome because you can get whatever cubes you want and stuff. So, without further ado, here's the Puzzler. So John Johnson is the youngest in a team of 8 people involved in bank heists. After a widely successful operation, John and his fellow burglars have raked in a bunch of cash, and the team is left with $8 million to distribute amongst itself. The team has agreed to vote on an 8-way split of the money decided by the youngest team member, in our case, John Johnson. If John's proposed split gets a majority vote, then the split stands and the team members get paid according to John's split. However, if a majority of the votes in John's favor is not reached, then the team kills John, and the next youngest team member proposes the next split to be voted on. So this process of voting and killing off the youngest team member continues until a proposed split gets a majority of vote. All the team members are hyper-rational, that is to say they have no biases for or against other individuals in the team, and the question for you is, what is the optimal split that John Johnson can propose such that he receives as much money as possible while guaranteeing his life? So, that was very long-winded, and it's a fun problem. I had fun typing it out here and figuring out the answer. And if you happen to get the right answer and your name is not Robert Yao, then you're doing fantastically. Analyze, submit your answers, submit your work with it too if you want.
Please don't bother Robert Yao.
And please don't bother Robert Yao about it because he's got enough to worry about as it is. All right, so I think that wraps up the episode. How about, what do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's been great without Mitch around.
Yeah, and so in 2 weeks we'll have Mitch again, and our special guest will be Kit Clement, member of the World Cube Association Regulations Committee, WCA delegate out of Michigan, and will be here for Basque 5. So stay tuned, and until next time, bye.
Thanks for listening. Dang.